Hello, today's video is called Switch number 7, Famous People. Today is June 10, 2026. The agenda for today is switch and genetic configuration, how to detect a switch, famous people, and final comment. As we have seen in previous videos, switch is a word that I personally use to describe the hidden gender inversion that is very common these days. And the reality is that holding two genders in one is simply not possible because humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes and only two configurations for pair 23. You can see the visual representation, and there are only two options and nothing else. The way we have seen in many videos in the past of how to detect a switch is by looking at a combination of multiple factors. It's not only one. Here is an image of multiple years ago when this very famous model was walking beside her sister, and because we see the differences in terms of the length of the neck, the shoulder shape, here is very square, here is sloping, and we're going to see even more examples of the height of the boobs in one of the images I'm going to show you today, the torso shape, the length, and in particularly the last three items, the arm length and the reach of the hand, which we also explored in the last video, the hip to shoulder ratio, and the collarbone and the finger ratio, which is going to be shown very easily here. In the women, you're going to see a very clear correlation, a line between the shoulder and the hip, and you're going to always find spaces when there are males, and that is because females' hips are supposed to expand even further at birth as opposed to males. The collarbone and the finger ratio here is shown the V shape on a female and the straight on a male, and the ratio of the fingers longer in males and shorter in females. And today we're going to see a couple of images that illustrate this very clearly. Finally, the hip rotation in females is required both when walking and when coming down the stairs, and for males it's going to be straight, and today we're going to have some examples as well. Eye separation, we spoke about this in last video, the jawline, the Adam's apple, the skull size, and we also mentioned the fact that there are so many alterations through cosmetic interventions as well as surgery. This is an image of a surgery that is being promoted in one website that I was seeing when I was preparing for this video, and to me this is incredible, but that is what is happening. And also in the previous video I showed bathing suits are always very good to detect what things should not be there, and when you don't have bathing suits it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So to me this is one of the easiest way, as well as the collarbone. When it's purely straight we know it's a male, even though we have been brainwashed for many years about seeing a female and a male. That is absolutely not the case. You can review all my previous work in the website, both Rumble and YouTube, and just with a search on switch you are going to see a lot of examples with many people that are both famous and also models and so-called royalty as well. Today we're going to focus on some famous people. I received a couple of comments about two people that are very popular, and we're going to see why. We're going to start first with a supermodel that was very famous some time ago, and she was actually called the body, meaning this was the perfect image of what a female should look like. But just even from behind you can absolutely appreciate the difference in this being so squared as opposed to be sloppy. That should be as a female. Look at the length and where the hand finally is, and the misalignment between the shoulder and the hip. There's a lot of space. That means it's a male. And again, when you have images on bathing suits is when you are going to be able to see the separation, and also the height of the boobs that is going to be too tall or too high in males and is going to be a little bit lower in females. And this so-called supermodel was in one of the series called Friends, and this position of the body, putting the hip to one side, is very used by these models because you can alter the position and make it look like it's more aligned. But when you draw the lines, you want to clearly see there is a space. Now, interesting to see the jaw shape here is very round. Here is very square. Look at the length of the neck as well. And the shoulder is sloping here, very straight here. And then you can see here without the lines, the alignment. So everything is inverted. Now, another one that I wanted to do is this wife of the prime minister of this country, because even at a glance, you can feel this is not necessarily that she's ugly. Many people are ugly, but they don't portray this masculine energy, this eye separation, that length of the neck. This is the brow bridge that you can actually see it even in the distance. Maybe the amount of cosmetic surgeries that took place in this entity was less than others, but I can clearly see it even in the image. And the size of the mouth is also extremely big. And in one of the images I found online, you can see there is no hip rotation. This is completely straight. Look at the shoulder shape and the arm length. And by comparison, let's look at this entity that is supposed to be a male. Look at the females from the last video on the campaign of Dior and where the hand rests versus this hand that is clearly being hidden in the pockets for a reason. You very rarely walk like this. This is very uncomfortable, but there is a reason. They don't want to showcase the length of those arms. But you can't avoid being photographed in many different moments, such as here coming out of an official visit. I don't know where they were, but the space is clear. There is no rotation here. And guess who's doing the rotation? So there it is. Also, I always like to look into the amount of feminine energy and the warmth that each entity is projecting. I see more feminine soft energy here than here, but once again, the eye separation, the length neck, no space, and here is very long. The arm length, look at this is short, this is long, and clearly the height as well. So to me, that's pretty clear. And this is the reason why I keep doing these videos, because as I will say in the end, the more you see it, the more difficult it is to ignore. This is also a request by one of the comments, so thank you very much for asking for this. I'm always happy to do specific reviews because I don't know everyone, as you may imagine, and this name actually was new to me. And here we go again. So the jawline, the eye separation, the brow bridge is very noticeable here as well. The length of this neck, the Adam's apple, the chest height. This is too high, and this is too square, and this is too straight as well. And there's always this harshness in the look. A female is supposed to be projecting warmth and softness, and there is no softness here in the eyes. And the jaw is typically hidden by the long hair, and here is also hiding the collarbone. And then I did a look in famous models in the moment. Lots of names that I've never heard. But look at this entity. This was listed as #1 of the 25 most iconic models. Never heard of this entity, but you can absolutely, independently of the dress, see that there's a very straight collarbone. They're hiding the Adam's apple as well. And look at the energy. Just try to feel the energy. That is not a female. And it's incredible. When I was doing the search for this woman or male or whatever that is, I found this name of another model, and here it is. So all you have to do is do a quick search, and the minute you have a strapless dress, you will be able to see it. Once again, arm length, hiding the Adam's apple, eye separation, jaw shape, clearly straight collarbone. Eye separation, very harsh look. I've never been able to understand how can anyone say that this is portraying any type of femininity. It's the opposite to me. And in one of my previous videos, I did a very detailed analysis of this specific model. And the masculine energy, once again, in this entity, to me, it's pretty clear. There is no softness in the energy. This so-called model as well, same situation, harshness. This is pure makeup trying to make a soft jawline, but on the side you will absolutely be able to see it. And this model became an actress, and again, lots of harshness in that energy. Another one that I didn't know of, look at the length of that neck, eye separation, the jaw, and also the harshness in the look. This is pretty clear to me. Very structured, eye separation. And always ask yourself, when you see a couple, who is projecting more feminine energy and who is projecting more masculine? And you don't even sometimes have to even look at this, or just look at the eyes, not even about the eye separation, just look at the eyes. The expression on the left is clearly more soft and more feminine, and the one on the right is very harsh and very masculine and very strong. And even in this picture, look the submissive nature of this person versus the dominant, not only in the position, but it's also in the harshness of the look of the eyes. And this is soft, round, and this is square, harsh. And I don't know if you see it here, but to me, every image that now, this is from Vogue magazine, and look at this. Now you know that's not exactly a female, because the images will always tell us everything we need to know. And the more you see, the harder it is to ignore. Thank you very much for listening.